Beat It, originally by Michael Jackson. Now there are two versions of the song. The one is by Michael Jackson with Eddie Van Halen doing guitar, which is why I like the song. And then there was a later rendition by Fall Out Boy, and I think John Mayer did the solo, but I'm not too sure on that. Now, before we go any further, for the purists, I'm doing mine in E minor, standard tuning. I do realize that the original is in E flat, and I think the Fall Out Boy is in D. I'm not too sure about that. But I'm doing it in standard tuning because most of my students work with standard tuning, and try and retune the guitars is sometimes a bit more difficult. So standard tuning, we're looking at the basic riff, and we're looking at the power chords, which are going to be... Now we're not going to cover the solo, there's a few other little parts inside there. We're looking at the two main riffs, the actual arpeggio and the power chords, just to have some fun with. Now before we go any further, we're going to focus onto our fretting hand, and please have your PDF with you as well. If you need a copy of the PDF, just WhatsApp me or send me an email. I'll be happy to send it through to you free of charge. And here goes. We're starting with the open sixth string. I'm using quite a high gain distortion as well. You can obviously use a less aggressive overdrive if you feel like it. And it actually works really nice on the acoustic guitar as well. I'll do a bit of a demo on the acoustic towards the end to prove that. But for now, we're going to go the high gain overdrive because it sounds cool for this song. And it's again open E string. I've pre-positioned my first finger there, even though it's not being used yet. Second note is going to be the 3, also on the 6th string, so your first two notes. And now that first finger comes into play on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. So and what you've played so far is a basic E minor arpeggio. For those that know what arpeggios are, you'll understand it, and for those that don't, we'll cover arpeggios at a later stage in another video. Okay, once you've done that, you need to jump up with your pinky to fret number 5 of the 4th string. Now you can use an open 3rd string, but I prefer the fretted 5th fret of the 4th string because I've got more control. I can vibrato it, much more control than on an open string. From there, on the 4th string again, down to fret number 2. So your first opening 5 notes. Pause a bit there, and on the PDF it shows a slide, which has got from the 2 to the 4. If you don't like the slide, you may want to consider a hammer-on instead, so I don't really mind if you do this, or if you do this. They both sound pretty cool. After that, you come back to fret 2, which is the opening note on your 2nd bar, and you come back to the 5th fret, this time on the 5th string. So your opening first 2 bars are going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's without the slide with the hammer on, and this is with the slide. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got that. Now again, you can use the hammer on as well if you want to. Second bar, or the second half rather, the 3rd and 4th bars, starts off the same. So you go through the same sequence of... But you'll notice there's only 1 5 at the end before a large gap and a double. Now, on the Van Halen version with Michael Jackson, that last double 5 isn't there. With the Fall Out Boy, they've made it a bit more heavier than the sort of pop version of Michael Jackson, and they've included the double 4. So here's the Michael Jackson version, just going to give it a different angle there quickly. And watch it for the blast at the very end in the 4th bar. That's not going to be here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. For the John Mayer version or the Fall Out Boy, like I said, I think John Mayer did the solo for the Red Somewhere, but I could be wrong. Okay, here's with the extra 2 notes. Sounds pretty cool. After that, some nice power chords. Before we go there, let's focus back into the fretting hand and see where we can find those power chords. We're going to begin with the E5. The power chord shapes are on the bottom of the PDF. And fret 7, fret 9. And I'm just playing those two notes. You may, if you want to, flatten the fourth finger and play 3 notes. Or you can just play the 2. And if you favor the ring finger, like that, that's also fine. And some guitarists actually like the ring finger and the fourth finger. So whichever combo you go for, I don't really mind as long as your E5 sounds like this. Now, when you go to the D5, you'll notice that I've only got one chord diagram, and underneath that chord diagram, the 7, 9, which says equals E5, now says 5, 7 equals D5. So I simply go down 1, 2. Now fret 5, now fret 7, and there's my D5. And later, for the C5, I simply move 2 more frets down to fret 3 and fret 5. There's my C5. Now, on the rhythm, it says on your PDF, verse rhythms, and you've got a whole lot of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and some down arrows. And there's 4 lines basically. The first time through goes from E to D5, second time also E to D5, the third time C for Charles to D5, and E5 to D5 at the end of that again. Now on the rhythm, you're not going to strum on the count of the 1. You're going to go 1 and 2 and 3. And your chords must be very staccato. So the silence between the chords is vital. This will be wrong because the notes are ringing, and this is what we want to have. And the easiest way to get it is to maybe simply just relax pressure on your chord. You can see that movement there. So when I strum, as I relax, the note goes quiet. It's the easiest way to do it. And when we go to the D5, you'll notice that the counting for that there actually starts on the and after the 4. So your first E5 starts after the 1, but your D5 starts before the 1. So if I were to count it slowly, I'd have this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and like that. So try and play through with me and see if you can get the rhythm. Okay, let's go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 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 And that's your basic verse chord progression. I hope you're able to play along with me with that. And we're not going to go into the whole... There's a whole lot of other little parts to the song. There's a nice lead solo with finger tapping that Eddie Van Halen does. We're just doing this as it's a cool way to get into arpeggios. Nice way to get some power chords. And like I said, the originals are in different keys. Now I did promise to do this on acoustic guitar as well, so I'm going to switch over. And it still sounds pretty cool for acoustic too. Let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Ooh, let's try it again. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And I'm thinking of the chorus. Let's go. Sorry about that. And I put the little double 5 we mentioned earlier. And again, sorry for the mistake. I wasn't going to redo the video. Everything's done live in one take here. And the power chords are now going to be like this. And that's pretty much all we need for Beat It by Michael Jackson. Obviously, like I said, other sections are there. We're not going to cover the solo that we might do in another stage because you need Floyd Rose, tremolo, picking, and a whole lot of other pretty cool things, finger tapping and all those special things. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have an awesome day. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to give me a shout. Have a blessed one.